A player prop that has hit 6 out of the last 7 games and a same game parlay. We're on a 12-5 run on. Welcome to the Prop Line. I'm your host, Andy Lang. Best bets and same game parlays have been really good. 13-4 run on best bets, 12-5 on the same game parlays, and we're seeing the same game parlays really well in NBA. What we've been doing is building around a blowout situation and taking an alt line and putting it with a player prop. So excited about the one we have today, and let's get a good win going into the weekend. So let's get started with the same game parlay. A lot of blowout potentials here tonight. I am going to focus on the Knicks and the Bulls here. We're going to take the Knicks minus 9.5 on the alt spread. The Knicks just lost to 3 playoff teams, but then they come back and beat Memphis on Wednesday pretty handily. They beat the Wizards by 32, and the Bulls have lost to the last 4 playoff teams they've played by at least 15 points. Some of those games way more than that. So that's how we're going to start the same game parlay. And then we're going to throw Josh Giddey to have 8+ assists. This is just, he is the assist machine right now. He has 10+ assists in 11 out of the last 12 games, and he's getting 21 potential assists, which is just an insane number. 21 potential assists per game. Even though I expect him to lose, he's just a passing machine. So that's how we're going to build the same game parlay in the Knicks and the Bulls. All right, we move to the play of the day. I am excited about this one. All right, play of the day. We're going to the Boston Celtics. This is another potential blowout situation. But let's take a look at Jason Tatum here. Over 8.5 rebounds. His rebound numbers have steadily gone up the last 7 games since his return from injury. 10, 9, 11, 12, 12. He had a 5 in there, but that was an outlier. And then last game, 18. And what I'm seeing from him is that he's feeling more comfortable going inside. He's getting his strength back. He's not as scared to, step on feet and, mix up with the rebounds. And, when he's at his healthiest, he's a really, really good rebounder, and he's a big part of the rebounding success that the Boston Celtics have. And, they're playing Milwaukee. Last 3 games, Milwaukee's giving up 50 rebounds per game, just over that. So the play of the day is going to be Jason Tatum over 8.5 rebounds. We'll do the market watch, and we'll tell you about some big plays that we have coming. All right, market watch for today. Let's go to the Mavericks and the Magic. Tristan da Silva over 8.5 points. I've seen this move to 9.5 points. I still think it's good. He's had 9+ points in 7 straight games. He's playing 23 minutes. He's taking 9 shot attempts per game, and he's making 4 of them. What I love, he's been adding free throws, 3+ free throws or more in 5 straight games, and he gets a fantastic matchup against the Mavericks. He's coming off the bench, so if we have a blowout situation, Tristan da Silva is probably going to be playing a little bit more in the fourth quarter. Move to baseball. Nationals and Dodgers. Miles Mikolas over 14.5 outs. He pitches 15 outs like every game, and it's like always at 15. He did it again in the first game of the season. 15 outs, then he gets pulled. Going back to last season, he's laid it exactly on 15 in 7 out of 8 games. So the Dodgers, they're just not shelling pitchers at this point. They lost 2 out of 3, and that was at home. This is a road game for them. So I would expect the Dodgers bats not to get on fire here. So I would expect Mikolas to have over 14.5 outs. Diamondbacks and Braves, Eduardo Rodriguez under 16.5 outs. He only went 15 innings in his first start. He only had 79 pitches, and maybe the Braves bats just came alive. They were the only team that had 6 unders and no overs, and yesterday they explode for 17 runs. So maybe the Braves bats just clicked and found themselves. But Eduardo Rodriguez is not going very deep into games. Even the pitch count isn't that high. And if the Braves bat gets to him early, there's a lot to like about that play. One more best bet that is up, and actually I'll go over some UFC thoughts that I have, but the buy 3 days, get 3 free special is still up. We have our very first 5% cricket play that is up. That goes off tomorrow. Don't buy plays. Buy a package. One play, we expect to win, but anything can happen. We want you to see what we can do over 6 days. We're running $100 off instant discount on 30 days. 2026 off to a really, really good start. We specialize in sports and props that are kind of off the beaten path. So just because college basketball is over doesn't mean that we don't have a lot of plays. And don't forget, we've got the Masters coming up next week. Our bread and butter is the golf majors. They give out so many props and so many markets to take advantage of. So we also have our golf show that goes off every week. We got a big show planned for next week. So if you just want some golf information, we're going to bang it out at the Masters. So, but more importantly, we're going to build your bankroll. We've got a big weekend of lacrosse. We got props. We got UFC, all that stuff. That's over at wt.buzz/AL. All right, Cardinals and Tigers. Framber Valdez under 1.5 walks. He only had 1 walk in his first start, and the Cardinals' 6th least amount of walks per game. So it's a pretty good matchup. They don't walk a whole lot, so we'll kind of take advantage of that, and hopefully he goes under on the walks prop. So let me pull up where the lines are at right now, and we'll go over some UFC thoughts on Friday. Jim and I, we're going to attempt to do our UFC breakdown show. It was my anniversary on Wednesday, so we're off, and Jim has a lot of people over at his house for Easter coming in. But I'll just blow through these fights here real quick. All right, fight lines. Kamaka and Hope, I guess I lean Kamaka, but I don't. I have no strong opinion on that one. Barbosa and Gatto, I like Gatto in that one. Barbosa's strong, but Melissa Gatto's really good on the ground. She's taking some time off. I would expect her to be 100% healthy, have better weapons on the feet. Bakoyev and Gore, it's probably Bakoyev, but get ready to live bet if Bakoyev gashes out. Elise Pereira and Haley Cohen, it's now or never for Haley Cohen. I don't think she's good, but I think Pereira might be just a little bit worse. Cohen at plus money, even though they're not good, but you're not betting your hard-earned money on that. Lando Venata and Darius Flowers. God, these fights are terrible. It's Flowers at plus money. You're not laying minus 218 in Veneta. Flowers can wrestle a little bit, but that fight's awful. Alessandro Costa and Stuart Nickel, probably one of my favorite parlay pieces. I love Alejandro Costa, and I think Stuart Nickel's awful. He supposedly had good ground game in Australia, and then he gets to the UFC, and he just promptly gets mollywopped. I think Costa's much better in the striking department. Guillermo Pat, Thomas Peterson, kind of like Peterson. I think his wrestling should be better than Pat, but I'm just not a Thomas Peterson fan, so I'll pass. Jose Delano and Robert Ruchala. I love Jose Delano. He's experienced. He's coming off a Contender Series, but he's UFC ready. Not real impressed with Ruchala on the feet. I think Delano pieces him up at range. Tommy McMillan and Zucchini. McMillan's awful. Zucchini's worse. McMillan at minus 1,000 is laughable. I almost might sprinkle Zucchini just because Tommy McMillan at minus 1,000 is a joke. Ewinger versus Estevam. Estevam is a really boring fighter. He's probably going to wrestle. If you're taking anything, it's dog or pass. If Estevam wins, it's going to be a absolutely terrible, boring fight. Ewing better on the feet, but Estevam won't want it to be there for much longer. Yukayev and Brinson Ribeiro, the only thing you can do in this one is play Yukayev round 1 finish, which he can. Ribeiro's been knocked out, so Yukayev round 1. Jandiroba and Ricci, I'm surprised money coming in on Jandiroba. I like Ricci as the dog. Jandiroba made it to the mountaintop, and Mackenzie Dern kicked her off said mountain. I think Ricci's probably going to be a little bit too active on the feet, and Ricci just has to stuff a couple takedowns, and she'll have the better moments. Moicano and Duncan, a lot of money coming in on Moicano. I don't get it. I like Duncan a lot. I'm not convinced that Moicano's heart is in this. He's doing podcasts, talking about money, and Duncan, he's kill or be killed, and he's been killing a lot of guys. Striking-wise is not even close, and Duncan is not a slouch on the ground. So Moicano's wrestling decent, but I think Duncan can fight it off. So, all right, hit the like button, leave a comment below. Appreciate you guys. Good luck on your bets. We'll see everyone later.